That's the problem. It's a short piece of pipe.
You probably find a lot of arrowheads and stuff back here.
Through here and up on the hill. Best time to find those is in the spring.
After it rains.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my brother a long time ago was back here. We found big skull heads.
Even over at Sweeney Park.
Yeah. Yeah,
Spikes are all over. Especially in your socks. You gotta take your socks off, stick you in your hand.
Okay, anytime.
Okay.
We're recording right now, so.
Okay. Well, what's this pipe, Steve?
the pipe is what's left of Chief Little Turtle's cabin site.
Oh, so this goes back, oh gosh, 1800, Little Turtle. This was after he retired as war chief?
This will probably be after he retired. It'd be the early 1800s, and he settled in this area, and that's all that's left of the cabin at this time.
But that pipe was actually part of the cabin that Little Turtle lived in, right here, and pretty much made this his home?
Yeah, he pretty much made his home year-round. The well pipe is what he drew his water from in the wintertime as well as the summer. The pipe would have been inside the cabin, so he had an old hand pump at that time. So that tells you about how old the pipe is. That's all that's left of this, but if you dig down a little bit, you can find some of the foundation, some of the old logs yet still there.
Okay, Chad, let's try.
She must be allergic to something. Oh. Wow.
You have to come back in the springtime, look for
I
arrowheads with
will.
us.
I'd love to.
'Cause
You're
you'll be
not
able to
seeing
find
that trailer over there, right? You're seeing woods.
No, I'm up to his shoulder. Right
Okay. We didn't see any trailer but before, yeah, 'cause we want to pretend as much as we can. So, okay, this was Little Turtle's cabin. What did the Miamis live in this area? We're in the Blue Lake area here.
We're in the Blue Lake area. The Miamis lived in this area in the summertime. They had the campgrounds on the hill back behind us yet. They would come here for their summertime, and in the wintertime they would head south for the wintering. So this would be the area that they would come up to in the summertime.
No kidding. And their camp was all over this area,
Right.
or one particular part?
No, their camp was pretty much on this side of the lake, all over the side of the lake and stuff. In the springtime, I was saying earlier, we can come up here, you can walk around, you can find pieces of arrowheads still laying around the area and stuff like this. So there are artifacts still in the area for the Miami Indians.
See, one thing, I thought I knew quite a bit about them, but I wasn't aware that they had two homes, one for the winter and one for the summer. Where'd they go in the winter or live, you know?
I'm not really sure. This is what I've learned from Leonard Rapp when he was around, that they would come here in the summertime. In the wintertime, they would migrate south where it would be not quite as harsh and stuff. So, you know, that I picked up from when Leonard was still alive in this area.
And before Anthony Wayne came, their principal settlement, this would have been when Little Turtle, I guess, was the war chief and defeated the American Army, was in Fort Wayne named Kikianga. So would that have been a time when they would have come here in the summer, do you think? Like late 1700s?
More than likely, yeah. This is where they would come up and do their fishing and stuff, since they're real close to the lake and everything, and they probably lay in some supplies of fish for the winter and everything.
What was the connection to Blue Lake as opposed to, say, you know, there's many other lakes around, but was this Little Turtle, for one thing, he was born and raised in this area, right? So that would have something to do with it.
Right, he was born and raised in this area, this county, so that probably would have quite a bit to do with it. So he just more or less settled in this area then once he retired as chief and stuff, and they built a cabin back here.
Boy. And you found arrowheads here?
Yes, I found arrowheads, pieces, as well as whole arrowheads, which I still have. The gentleman that had the ground before us, Leonard Rapp, he used to find a lot of arrowheads in this area. He's also had tomahawk heads and stuff like this, so he had a real nice collection.
He was, pretty much a kind of a self-taught, self-made authority on little turtle in the Miamis, wasn't he? I mean, I've heard so much about him and his knowledge.
Yeah, he was. He was had a lot of knowledge for the area, and I think that's what we learned a lot from him. It explained the area and stuff like this. He self-taught himself. He learned about the Indians in this area. He also knew that where the campsites were. He also knew where some of the burial grounds were, which he never told anybody, because that way they were private, keep people from digging them up and everything.
Did he say anything in any of his talks with you about a connection between Little Turtle and the Big Turtle, the Beast of Busco?
The Beast of Busco? No, he never did. The Beast of Busco was a lot later on and everything. So, that's something that came up in 1949. So this is well past the prime of the little Miami Indians.
Yeah. I asked because I've seen articles saying that Oscar, the Big Turtle, was the spirit of Little Turtle, and that Little Turtle got his name by comparison, and that the Miamis put a turtle in either here or Falks Lake, and it ended up in Falks Lake as a tribute to their great chief, Little Turtle. So there's at least stories.
Yeah, there's stories. The turtle was one of their main emblems that they used, that they have on their tents and their teepees and stuff like that. That much he did tell me, that that was one of their main items of the turtle. And they used to carve turtles out of wood and also out of any type of metal that they used to get their hands on and stuff too.
Oh, do you know what the turtle stood for? I mean, I suppose like persistence, longevity. I mean, turtles live a long time, and we think of them as, they just keep going, not fast, but they get there.
I'm not really sure, but probably more likely longevity and everything. But that's how his Indian name was Michikinokwa, which stands for Chief Little Turtle. And this area, there's a campground that's named after him, and it's called Michikinokwa.
Where are those?
You're standing on it.
Oh, that's right.
This is part of the campgrounds. The old Indian campgrounds is what we have a modern campgrounds on, and that's what it's named after, was Chief Little Turtle.
And so we're standing on the ancient campgrounds of the 1700s.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, we're standing on the ancient campgrounds of that time.
Oh, that's fantastic. So Churubusco's kept the connection alive. I mean, for one thing, there is the connection we talked about with Oscar, the significance of the turtle, and then naming the campground, modern campground, after the Miami.
Right, after Miami. So it's been kept alive that way for a long time, and we'll keep it that way as long as we can.
Great. They had there's a turtle clan in the Miamis. Did he say anything about that or talk about that? Do you remember?
Not that I can remember. He knew so much the history of the area. I wish he was still around that where you could get the history of the area. He could tell you just so much about it, and he explained a lot of it to me and my brother and also my mom and stuff. So we learned an awful lot from him. That's how we knew where a lot of the spots were. He originally brought us back here and showed us where the well pipe was and everything, and exactly how the cabin sat on this part of the ground and stuff.
Now, Leonard had, in addition to his knowledge, considerable knowledge of Miamis and Indian lore, he also, didn't he run the dance hall? Wasn't that named after him, or didn't he own it, or his family?
Yeah, his family owned it, the dance hall, which is on the south side of this lake. At the time he was growing up and stuff, it was considered a real plush area. Used to be a real big, nice house over there and stuff, which now is gone. But the dance hall part is still standing, and they also at one time used to store ice in the summertime, so they have ice. They used to go out and cut the ice out of the lake and store it and stuff.
Would this been what, 20s, 30s, even 40s?
Be the 30s and the 40s.
Yeah. So Churubusco had a claim to fame before Oscar as probably kind of a party town in terms of people. I would imagine came from all over to go to the dance hall. I've seen pictures of the cars and a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, more likely, because it was a pretty good-sized dance hall. And then outside of the hall, they had rides set up for the kids and stuff. Some of the old forms are still there where they used to have the rides and everything. So it used to draw people to the south side of the lake quite a bit.
Okay, well, great. Is there anything else you'd think of we haven't talked about in terms of Little Turtle or Blue Lake's history?
No, not really. The only other thing is, can't remember how long ago, probably 50 years ago, so there used to be a fire back here in this area where we're standing. It was a muck fire which you can't put out. After it was out, they found a set of mastodon bones back here, so that's another thing for the area too. And they excavated them out, and as far as I know, they are in the museum in Chicago.
No kidding. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? I mean, you just look at this area and stand here, and you see something that was here, well over 100 years ago, of a famous man and the land, and you just can imagine the history of it. And I imagine it, where we're standing, looks like it did when Little Turtle had his cabin, wouldn't you think, pretty much?
No, pretty much, yeah, because they usually let the area as much natural as possible because of the wildlife and stuff and everything for this area. And there's a lot of wildlife in this area, which makes it real nice, too.
Great. One other quick thing. Russ Gilliam at Turtle Days told me that Turtle Days honors not only the tradition of Oscar, but the tradition of the Indian. You just mentioned how they preserve things in nature, and that their preservation of nature and that kind of tradition. And you're being the president, do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, we do. We like to have the encampment people come in, and it shows a lot of people how the people used to live in that time period around and stuff. But we like to try to help preserve the area as much as possible. That's why this well pipe is not well known to the people, because we like to keep it so the people don't come back here and tramp it down and everything.
Take away souvenirs
Right.
like they did with Gail here.
Yeah, we don't want to lose the pipe itself. The pipe is in pretty bad shape, but it is the original well pipe for the Chief Little Turtle.
Oh, it's just a tremendous value. I mean, you know, to actually have something that he touched and lived in, and as you say, the foundation is still under there. And
Yeah, and it is. I mean, we're hoping it stays there for quite a while. If it happens to disappear, we know where it's at. We can mark the area still, so that's why it's kept pretty well quiet to the area.
okay, well, we won't tell people exactly where it is.
That sounds good.
Okay. Okay. Hey, Stan, thanks.
No,
That's
thank
great.
you.
Thanks.
So just go back to the road we were on, where we started.
Charlie can show you.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, thank you. But I know Stan's gotta get going, so. So is there anything else that besides the lakefront and the dance hall we should take while we're out here? So if we get these woods, we pretty much got the campground. Yeah. Can you show us where that modern campground is? Or there must be a sign. Is that where we came in? That's what you're driving through. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. They use this whole area in Canton area. Yeah. So if we got a wide shot of this wood, that'd pretty much be their campground. That's a nice day for this, sunny, pretty day.
Okay.
Alright, thanks. Get a wide shot of the whole wooded area, kind of like this was the whole area.
This was the widest I can go,
Yeah,
and I couldn't get all four of you in.
okay.
Well, they didn't want me. They just wanted my hat. You should have seen him in his turtle costume uniform
Which was
outfit.
on one of the.
when
Is
the
that on one of
Columbia
our
City,
tapes?
yeah, Wendy taped
Yeah,
it.
Wendy got it.
Right, just look. There's not that much left around that's just so unspoiled like this.
That's why the 10 acres. See, eventually this land, so, and hopefully they'll stay around here, but eventually my 10 acres stop probably no more than 50 feet from us right now. We'll get the well pipe in our land area, and it'll stay just like this.
Man, geez. That's thrilling.
Yeah, we bought 10 acres, and I'm going to buy another 10. That way, if something ever happened to Mom, I don't have to pay inheritance tax on it, because